So yeah, the stats and the skills. Stats in CP PvP are like this. It's 17k Magica, 32k Stamina, and 27 almost k health. We're running 1500 Stamina Recovery. I switched one glyph back to Stamina Recovery just because I kind of don't like of the damage, and well, in certain situations I just would run out of stamina. The sustain is not as good as I thought, or maybe the sustain is not as good as I'd like it to be. So yeah, unbuffed. Okay, if we buff up with Major Brutality and with Minor Brutality, we have 4k weapon damage. With Fury and Titanborn, that goes almost to 6k. With continuous attack, it's around 6k. So yeah, with Bloodspawn proc on our Southern Board bar, we would have almost max resist. That's 28k resist. And I also, even after the patch, I like running around 3.4k critical resistance. Just, it's still the best damage modifier. It still outperforms like Reinforced or any kind of other trait. Well, I would switch some to Well-Fitted, but that requires Transmute Stones. Look, I have one Sturdy and one Divines. Divines I would switch to Well-Fitted, but Sturdy is a great trait. We're block casting a lot of skills, especially when we're defensive. I'll try to demonstrate it with these NPCs. So yeah, the defensive rotation. Well, when you're getting peppered, you're basically always want to block cast skills, like take as little damage as possible and heal as much as possible. Yeah, maybe the NPCs are not the best way to demonstrate it, but you can see the same rotation going in my PvP videos. Okay, so the skills. Well, there are a lot of options on a DK. Well, obviously you need a major resolve buff that increases your physical and spell resist. I also love Cauterize. It's a really cheap Magicka skill. You can spam it and heal yourself. Fragmented Shield. Well, I do not imagine running a DK without it. I think it's possible. It's definitely possible, but well, I see no reason not to run the Fragmented Shield on NDK, because it provides major mending buff. So basically your whole Vigor and your Cauterize spams are buffed by 25%. Reverberating Bash, I just found that having a reliable stun helps you a lot in certain situations. Yeah, we can stun enemies like this, but it's like it takes a long time, and when you're under pressure, it's like really easier. Well, you're on your back bar anyway, you're defending yourself, and switching back to offensive is really easier while having a stun. Okay, Vigor, obviously the single target one, the solo one. Look at the tooltip. Well, I'm not fully buffed. The tooltip is much higher. Ah, dude. Okay, the tooltip is much higher when, like, in combat situations, because we're buffed. Our fury is up, and our Titanborn sometimes is up. On our front bar, we're running a source of major brutality, in this case forward momentum. This also helps us to remove all the snares and immobilizations. Basically, it allows us to stay mobile. And well, this is on PTS, so it's not morphed. The sync on PTS happened when I haven't had this skill morphed. I'm running Elude, the one which gives you major expedition. So basically, when you remove all the snares, you have the speed buff up almost all the time, because evasion procs from AoEs, and there's a lot of AoEs in PvP. Noxious Breath, well, yeah, I remember I used to run it like this: Noxious Breath, Venomous Claw, just wear it down with the dots, leap and execute. But now I just find the dizzying swing, well, add more to the burst. As you can see, like, my burst is always dizzy into the leap and then into execute. So yeah, it just adds more. Well, in some situations, Venomous Claw would be better, like fighting, for example, kitey, medium armored enemies. Well, but there's not that many enemies. There are some, but there's not a lot of enemies that are kiting you. Okay, so that's basically it. Leap on your front bar. The best single target burst ability in the game. Ultimate, I mean. Like, if you compare the tooltip of Take Flight and Dawnbreaker, well, obviously mine isn't morphed, but there's a huge difference, like a few K difference from the direct damage hit. I like Dawnbreaker on my Stam player, since you can Dawnbreaker and then jab on the dot. But yeah, on a DK, well, your dots have made their part, and now it's time to execute. So you dizzy, you leap, you execute. Okay, and well, you could be running anything here. Instead of Reverberating Bash, you could slot Circle of Protection. You can morph it into Fear. It's an AoE Fear, really strong stun. It goes through block, it goes through roll dodge, like, it just fears the enemy, and yeah, it's a great stun. It is kind of pricey compared to Reverberating Bash, but yeah. So Spell Wall. I'm not running the other morph because it just reflects all the projectiles back to the enemy, and in PvP that means, well, your enemy stops being offensive, while you still can attack your opponent while he's under the other morph, because, well, he's still taking damage. Like Templars in the Mist form, you can still kill them in the Mist form, but in this one you just kind of think not to, because you just reflect all all their attacks back to them. That includes Templar Javelins, like all the nasty Flame Reach stuns or whatnot. So the Spectral Bow from the Nightblade, it reflects all the attacks back to the attacker. Okay, so that's basically it. I'm running Tristat. That gives me a large magica pool. You can see in the game footage why I have it. Well, it helps a lot. It helps a lot for your survival in PvP, because, like, Stamplars only use one magica skill. It's the ritual, and well, DKs have a whole magica toolkit on them, and a large magic pool just helps them survive. I feel comfortable, I feel like really comfortable with this stamina recovery. It goes even up when I have my continuous attack buff up. Well, yeah, that's basically it now. Aim for like 3k or more crit resist, aim for unbuffed like 3k weapon damage. It can be more if you run New Moon Acolyte or Ancient Dragon Guard, for example. Well, this part kind of doesn't matter too much on the DK. Well, it helps, of course, but well, it's not the main. It's not the main resource of damage. I mean, you're basically. It's your toolkit on a DK that matters, not necessarily your offensive stats.